Today's topic: stop worrying about everything. The more you worry, the worse any situation will get. To worry is to be anxious. To be anxious is to be nervous. To be nervous is to be stressed. To be stressed is so dangerous that it can easily lead to an early death. If you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. Stress literally kills. If you worry too much about something, especially chronically, you could quickly be heading down the path of poor health. We're talking about your mind, heart, and overall physical health. This is very, very important. This is a very big deal, in fact. Unfortunately, far too many people have accepted stress as if it's something normal and harmless. The fact is, it is harmful and could one day cost you your life if you're not careful. If you don't learn how to get a hold of yourself right now and stop the habit of worrying too much. So like I said, very, very serious topic here. You might think, oh yeah, I kind of worry from here to there. Yeah, but think about what it's doing to your mind and body in the long run. This is why many people, they actually age far too fast, too soon. And you ask them what their age is, and you're like, wow, you look like 20 years older than what you look. Yeah, why do you think that is? Aside from bad habits, such as substance abuse, stress. You want to know where wrinkles come from? It's not just overexposure to the sun. Stress. Physical, mental, emotional. It literally kills human beings. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? It's true that most of us, maybe even all of us, will have something to worry about at one moment or another. That's not what this lesson is about. This lesson applies strictly to those who worry too much, or if you know somebody who worries too much, either from time to time or constantly, that's chronically, almost every single day. Worrying too much is not only deadly in the long run, but also extremely problematic, as it can easily cause severe low libido, which means you could be wrongly diagnosed, for example, with erectile dysfunction, or you think there's something wrong when you can't perform in the bed. For females too, by the way, unable to reach orgasm. Yeah, because your mind is on other things. Like I said, stress, worrying, borderline panicking about things that, look, we're going to get into it, don't worry. When the real problem is your addiction to worrying, as I said before. You may also have terrible stomach or digestive issues, circulatory problems, mental difficulties, such as significant memory fog, unable to remember things, or your brain is just not working as fast as it should. Worrying can easily cause tremendously negative, self-destructive emotions, such as anger, depression, anxiety, and irritability. So many people overlook the act of worrying. They just overlook it. They think, oh, no, that can't be it. It is it. It's right underneath your nose. That's why you're living such a miserable life or a stressful life. Many times we do it to ourselves if we're not careful. I grew up, for example, with a mother who constantly worried about everything and everyone, not just in the family either. She watched the news a lot too. I personally witnessed her slowly lose her mind and get physically worse over time, mentally as well. There was nothing anyone could do to stop her from worrying so much. You must be the one to put an end to it. So as I said before, anger, irritability, depression, panic attacks, erectile dysfunction, or for females unable to reach orgasm or even enjoy sex. Worrying causes all of this. Brain fog, all types of mental issues. Digestive issues, circulatory problems, and much more. I wasn't going to put everything on this, but stress is a killer. There are so many symptoms. It would be ridiculous to go over each and every single one of them. That's why I said check yourself in the last show before you break yourself. That's not a joke. I know it sounds funny, but I'm serious because you will break. It's just a matter of time. So that's why I'm telling you guys, let's go ahead and just dive even deeper into this, shall we? It is a very important topic. And growing up, I've seen so many people just excuse the act of worrying like it's nothing. Oh, yeah, we have our ups and downs. No. You need to minimize and ideally completely eliminate those downs, at least how far down you go. We're talking about your life here, your health. One has to wonder why people worry so much when the act of worrying is completely useless and only serves to make a bad situation worse. Worrying provides no positive, productive results. It deteriorates the mind and creates mental and emotional weakness. By worrying, you are training your mind and spirit, which are your emotions, to be weak, counterproductive, and fearful. Some people even do it for attention, like narcissistic behavior, for example, using the act of worrying as a distress signal. It's the same as crying for attention or lying in order to manipulate others. Worrying is an often vicious cycle. It promotes procrastination, always kicking the can down the road. People who worry a lot often fail to get their life priorities straight. The famous saying, for example, worrying is like a rocking chair. It keeps you busy, but doesn't get you anywhere. It's true. So let's go ahead and look at this. Making a bad situation worse. How many people do you know who do that? And we're talking also primarily in relationships. But this applies everywhere. Friends, family, strangers, acquaintances. Yes, some people do it for attention. So they're going to be thinking, oh, I'm just so concerned. I'm not going to pass this exam. What if this doesn't happen? What if they say this? Are you kidding me? You're just making a bad situation worse, or just a regular situation that it's out of your hands. You're making it worse. You can't just wait patiently, but we'll get into that as well. But yeah, mental and emotional weakness, deteriorating your mind and your ability to become a strong adult the way you should be. To be fearless, to be courageous. And we'll go over that as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? All right, now let's go over how to prevent worrying, since we know how dangerous it is. Worrying about anything and everything. Number one is to take action whenever possible. Never make a hasty decision, though. That means a decision too quickly. If you have time to think about the best course of action, take full advantage of that precious time. Be responsible, mature, and strong, even in the worst situations. It's not easier said than done, I'm serious. In the worst situations that you may be forced to endure, the most important thing is to remain calm. Never lose hope. However, don't sit around waiting for things to happen either. Unless, of course, the ball is not in your court, as I was trying to say before. Maybe there's just nothing you can do about it. In situations where there is absolutely nothing that you can do about what's happening or what didn't happen, wait patiently until the moment finally comes when you can do something about it. Depending on the scenario, patience is usually key. This applies to almost every situation. There are some exceptions, but the same thing applies. Contingency planning is when you have a plan, so you already planned ahead. For whatever may come your way, always be 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead. That's not easier said than done. That's very realistic. You just have to stop and think about it. The more, the better. Have a backup plan in case things don't go your way. A few steps backward may be necessary to later advance a few steps forward. It's called retrograde. So you're not retreating from a situation. Sometimes you have to go back to the beginning to understand how you can move forward, or go in a circle. Sometimes you have to go around a certain problem. It's just going to take longer to solve. So it's not making sacrifices or compromising. It's just finding the way that works for everyone in such a situation. So that's what I said. That's why I said don't make a hasty decision, because you could be sacrificing something that it's a needless sacrifice. That could be anything that we're talking about, whether it's a matter of life and death or just a simple decision. So, like I said here, take action whenever possible. Sometimes you can't take an action. The ball is not in your court. Don't panic and stop worrying about it, because you're going to mess up your sleep. You're not going to enjoy food that you eat. You're going to probably get angry, depressed. You're going to probably take it out on somebody else and regret it later, or not regret it. You're going to turn into a monster, an out-of-control Tasmanian devil. We don't want that. So if you're responsible and strong, you have backup plans, which is contingency planning. You never lose hope. You plan ahead. You're patient, because that's an art. That's an art form, patience. That's why they say patience is a virtue. And you have to work towards that, just like anything. And that's why I said a soulmate, a perfect soulmate status with your partner in a lifelong relationship, you have to work towards that. If you say it's impossible, that nobody's perfect, then you're going to have the most mediocre life, like we just discussed in the last show. Mediocrity, which kills relationships. Always strive to do your best whenever possible. That's what life is all about. Otherwise, you won't enjoy life at all. So it's about having a warrior's mindset, which we're going to discuss right now. Let's go ahead and proceed here. It is, in fact, possible to completely eliminate the impulsive habit of worrying from your life. If you train your mind to refuse the option of worrying, only then will you finally learn to confront any and all present and future situations. You know, life challenges, in other words. In this life, you have to have what I always say, a warrior's mindset. I did a stream about that under my The Benefits of series titled A Warrior Mindset, which is the 10th and final episode of that series, by the way. So please go watch that stream. I'll provide a link down below for anybody interested. Worrying, anxiety, panicking, nervousness, uncertainty should all fly out the window once you begin mentally and emotionally training yourself to be strong, wise, intelligent, and tenacious. That means how tough you are. How much can you take in this life? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't let life beat you down to the point where you want to give up and you just want to throw in the towel. That's what being tenacious is all about. Being tough. Being tough and strong. You got to be smart as well in order to prevent life from beating you down. You have to be like the wind with the winds of change. Just bend like a tree with the winds of change. You have to be flexible. You got to be tolerant. You can't just sit back and complain about everything in life and expect anything to change for the better. If you sit back and wait, that's not taking action. So guess what? Life's going to beat you down anyways. That's just the type of world we live in. We were born into a world of chaos. What did you expect? There's nothing easy about life unless you make it easier to live in. There are some things that are just inevitable. You know, evil things happen. You know, I always say things happen for a reason, but when evil things happen, no, sorry, there's no reason for that. It's just going to happen, like it or not, to the good people and bad people. I believe karma exists, but other than that, you have to make things happen in this life. So be ready, be smart, take it easy. That's the point. As always, it's up to you to have the courage to better yourself every single day. Every single day you wake up is another opportunity to better yourself. So when I say stop worrying, I mean in any situation. You don't have to always be worrying about this and that or everything or chronically. But if you know somebody who's stuck, always worrying about this and that, help them out. You know, don't just tell them to chill out. I mean, actually explain it to them. Hey, look, I don't think that's healthy. I mean, every time I meet you, or almost every time that I'm talking with you, it looks like you're just worrying about this and that. Even if it's something small, help them out. You know, have some fun with them, talk to them, whatever it takes, you know, to just ease their mind, ease their emotions. Everybody has the power to help others. But you have to take care of numero uno, which is yourself. You can't help others if you can't help yourself, right? So that's the point. But just remember, people, stress, it's a killer. I'm not kidding. Stress literally kills everything that's human. And I don't know if the animals out there stress in the forest and in the hills and everything, but I know humans, they stress a lot, and sometimes over nothing. And that's what makes the act of worrying so deadly. Because you're in a spot where either you can take action or you can't in order to stop the urge to worry so much. Because something's causing that. So in order to be a problem solver in this situation, you have to isolate it, right? You have to say, okay, what's making me worry so much? Let's give an example. Oh, I worry that my son, He doesn't have enough money to pay for his groceries, or I think he's living in a bad neighborhood. I don't know how he did on that college exam, or whatever it is. Let's say a mother's constantly worrying about their children. That's very common, and I grew up with such a mother. Okay, you can either do a one of several things, right? Or a few things. You can call them, just simply call them if that's available. I mean, nowadays it should be, right? You can email them, you can text them. They should be able to get back in contact with you. And then now the ball is in their court, because depending on whether your children are good or bad, meaning if they have a heart, if they're actually humane, they should get back in contact with you. I mean, it takes a mighty evil individual to say, yeah, whatever, mom, I don't care. I'm not going to give you any updates. I mean, unfortunately, there are relationships like that between mother, father, and children. Yes, they estrange each other. They don't care. Or one estranges the other when they don't deserve it. Like I said before in another show, it happens. When there's ungrateful children out there, they don't want to update their mom who is constantly worrying about them. Really? If you know that your mom's going to be worrying about you, you don't care about their mental and emotional health? See, that's why you got to take care of yourself. Because if your children end up doing that to you, then nobody else is going to save you at that point. Nobody cares. Unless you have friends who care about you, or your spouse that cares about you, or somebody else. Loved ones, in other words. But sometimes we don't have anybody to pick us up again, to get us to stop worrying so much. You have to be the hero for yourself. That's why it's important to be so strong in this life. There's nobody going to come to save you. And guess what? You could be killing yourself so fast. That's why smoking, drinking, negative thoughts, negative emotions, it's all deadly. It's just slowly chipping away at your longevity in this life. And the quality of your life. Like I said before, sexual problems, mental problems, and just problems in general, health-wise, physical problems, emotional problems that can lead to extreme depression, anxiety, panic attacks, you name it, circulatory issues. It's just a whole plethora. It's a combination. It's a collage of just, you don't want this in your life. And it all starts with the smallest things that we consider that are normal. Yeah, they're just a little nervous. That's just their personality. That's just the way they are. No. How about no? And I'm not talking about going out there and changing people. Well, I'm going to go change this person because they worry too much and I think it's killing them. No, hold on a second there, Tiger. All I'm saying is that, hey, if they want to be helped, if you mention it to them, offer your assistance, right? Say, hey, I think you're worrying too much about this, and I think you worry too much about almost everything. Just offer and say, don't try to change them. They have to be the ones to change themselves for the better. If they insist on being stubborn and self-destructive and continue worrying over everything, and if they get hostile towards you, angry, they get a bad attitude, you have to let them be, unfortunately. Sometimes, people, they don't want to help themselves. They just want to press that repeat button to no end. In that case, the ball's not in your court, because guess what? Now you're going to be worrying about the person who's worrying all the time. Now there's two birds with one stone. And we don't want two birds with one stone, do we? That's a 2-for-1 special in the name of negativity and deadly behavior. So, if you find a family member, a friend, or your own spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the situation is, or yourself worrying too much, either they change, you change, we all change, or nothing changes. And you got to stop worrying about situations where nothing's going to change. Like, for example, with the world, I'm going to go ahead and just end it with this right here. I can't do anything about the status of the world, okay? The politics is out of control. Most people are out of control in this world. I get it. I'm just going to help the few who want to be helped and offer my assistance. But I'm not going to be worrying about the state of the world and if it's going to end sometime, because there are people, unfortunately, who live like that. They're always panicking. Oh my goodness, the apocalypse is going to come here, or the rapture, or the end of the world. Those people are killing themselves with those thoughts and emotions. I'm not going to live like that every day. There's this one saying in France, for example. It's all in French, and they say, this one couple, they knew the world was going to end, and all they did was kiss each other. They made love with each other. I mean, that's me. It's not ignorance is bliss. It's just the fact is, well, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, you could go down fighting, but is it really worth it? I mean, if you know that the odds are against you completely, yeah, I'm a warrior at heart. Not a warrior, but a warrior. That's almost phonetically equivalent, isn't it? So when I say warrior, I'm not saying worrying. Oh my goodness, I didn't expect that. All right, you guys get the picture. So if you have any questions, toss it into the comment section. It's been a pleasure with this lesson. And like I said, take it easy, be smart, be ready. Much love to everybody. Please enjoy the weekend. And that is all.